Do you want bonus content associated with this podcast for as little as £2 a month? I mean, I think that's a no-brainer. Wow. Patreon.com/Sly Guy Podcast. Follow the link in the description of the podcast and get your access now. Ladies and gentlemen, we are brought to you in association with Visual Antics Apparel. The best podcast merchandise in the game, period. And if you want 10% off my merchandise, you can use the discount code SLYGUY10 at checkout. Follow the link in the description of the podcast. Get on it now. Don't waste your time. Get this limited edition merch and just get on it. I tried to do an M for merch and then realized it's Sly Guy, so whatever. The Sly Guy podcast is brought to you in association with Modest Beer. Modest is my favorite beer within a tin. It's also become my favorite beer from a draft as well. It's not quite a Fealty's Guinness, but it's great. I'll be straight with you guys. I'll not lie. It is great. And you want to know more about it, check out their website, modestbeer.co.uk. Subscribe to their newsletter. See their merch, see their beers. And at checkout, if you want to eat Brucey bonus or eat discount, use the discount code SLYPA15 at checkout. And you get a wee 15% bonus off your Modest Beer.
I'm the Sly Guy.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Sly Guy podcast. Wow, settle yourselves in, wiggle your bums in your seats, and make yourself feel some kind of way, because this was a fun episode. But before we get into this week's episode, again, I want to thank everyone that's jumped on board to listen to my podcast on BBC Sounds, Daddy, What's a Podcast? It is my parenting podcast. It is a totally different vibe to what this is. So if you like this, you'll be able to enjoy that too. If you're a parent, you can enjoy it. And if you're not a parent, you can still laugh at it anyway. It's doing really well and I'm really proud of it. So if you haven't already, check out Daddy, What's a Podcast? Follow the link here and check it out. And again, thanks to all the positive feedback and the kind words that you have given me about the podcast. It makes this little old, probably clogged heart feel a lot better. And if you're just new to this podcast, get the subscribe button hit. This is the thing. This is how we grow the podcast. You subscribe, you share, you tell your friends this is the podcast to be at. This is the podcast to listen to. This is the Sly Guy podcast. You can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, wherever you get it. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you get this in your inbox every Thursday. But this week's episode, wow. This is a good week's episode to start off. We have one of my favorite people that I've had on the podcast back this week. A comedian who is based all the way over in Liverpool, which is like, whoa, an entirely different world away so far. But she's come over specifically solely to do this podcast. People will go, was her gigs booked too? Yes, but that's irrelevant. This is why she's come, and I'm always delighted to have her. It is the fantastic Hattie Preston. So enough of me blabbing on about how good an episode it was. Here it is. Enjoy it, and have a great week, guys. Hattie, we're back again.
We are.
We're back in here. This feels better this time, because the last time I hated you. No, the last time, it was the first time we met, and it's always a bit weird.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Sort of like, and I feel like now we're kind of like,
I know, it's nice, isn't it? But I think we have certainly like a lot in common. So I feel like that first one was easier than it could have been. I mean, we've all done podcasts where we've been like, hello, this is very nice, thank you. But no, I know.
But it's good.
We're old pals.
But that last time I did feel it, because again, I did a podcast recently with somebody and I had never met her before, and it was a bit like, when you see someone, you're like, you think they're really funny, and then you're like, but your persona doesn't match your person, and it's really put me off.
That must be really strange and off-putting.
And it's just like, you don't know what, and then I'm asking weird questions going, I'm coming across really weird, and then I start thinking, this is like a date. If this was a date, this is terrible.
And you feel like a predator.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Drag this woman into this strange room in the middle of nowhere.
That is
it's
the
truth.
It is a bit weird. Like, just listen, any predators out there, we hack for you.
Yeah.
Start a podcast and just bring people up.
And we don't question it. You're like, it's this address. Come here with no friends, just you. Like, it is mad.
If this was the first time and the two other guys had just left, and I could understand why you might be a bit like, oh no, this guy. I look like this, which is intimidating and scary to people.
Sure, apex predator face. Yeah. Sure.
But I don't have the speed, so you could. But then no, you're.
I know, but then I don't have the speed either anymore because I'm a big fat bitch.
You are pregnant though, yeah.
I am pregnant, yeah. It's just some real self-hate to kick off the pod. Yeah, 5.5 months.
If ever you're looking at a self-hating person, it's this guy.
Oh no.
But 5.5
months. Yeah, I have a full secret. It's out now. Actually, it's really funny. I'm doing my little show, my solo hour.
Okay.
I can't call it a tour because that feels very overwhelming and arrogant. So it's very much been called a Tourette. I've done like a few venues, the smallest rooms I could feasibly humanly find on God's green earth, and I had a lovely time. But when I started the show, I wasn't pregnant. The first time I did it, I'd written the show not pregnant, and it was about, part of it is the journey of IVF and getting here and whatever. I rocked out to Southampton on Thursday, and obviously part of the show at the end is I go, oh, I am 20 however many weeks pregnant, and I was like, I can't. I'm like waddling out on the stage, like, wait till this huge reveal. And I suddenly realised on Thursday, like, you are going to have to rewrite the show for the final couple of dates. Like, you are now a big fat bitch.
Or else a big hoodie or something.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've been in this like A-line dress that my friend told me was sort of hide sins, but it's getting pretty. I mean, you know this. Like, women start walking funny.
Yeah, that was my biggest surprise, because I only just found out, and then that day a message is like, "What? I'm fucking buzzing for you." Yeah. And then whenever I collected you today, I was like, "Oh, well, this is a quick jump."
This duck waddling towards me. It is. You can't hide it. You are just sort of, everything's shifted, so you walk funny. But yeah, I know it is. It's a funny one.
And is it comfortable?
I love it. I love it. I'm sorry. I know there are so many women out there struggling with pregnancy because it's a lot. I have just had such a blissed out, lovely one.
And do you know, other than a baby, what it is?
No, I don't know, boy or girl. I just want it to be ginger. It's the only thing I care about. It's the only dream I have.
But then the bright side is, if it isn't, you can dye it.
I figure.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I just think about, what if I have some blonde, like some beautiful blonde kid? Well, how am I going to raise that? Really? Like, sending off this beautiful blonde girl to school, be like, have a lovely day, darling. Oh, wait, of course you will. Like, you're blonde, pretty. So I just don't know what I'd do with it.
You could, I always think a good way to just make someone look instantly worse, shave the eyebrows off.
Right.
You know, if they get a bit big for the boots.
Just creepy and weird. Yeah. Creepy baby. I really like that. Just looks like expressionless potato.
Excuse me, Harriet, this might just be me here, but you haven't shaved the child's eye.
No, what are you talking about? No.
It just had
he's an eyebrowless child.
It's a specific alopecia to one area. You know why some people are unfortunate with alopecia and have like little spots?
Yeah.
Their spots are just right here.
Fresh off.
And it's
fresh off.
But just plaster on, or just shaving cut.
I don't know, must have done something with the safety scissors. That's perfect. Well, I'm glad we cracked that, because I'm not having.
If ever you need hacks how to make your kids look worse.
Look creepy.
Yeah. And I mean, I wish for you. I mean, I obviously don't know if you want a boy or a girl, but if you have a girl, those guys are creepy. Like, those guys aren't instantly creepy. And somebody has decided one day to make girls creepy. Like, someone went, I'll put these guys in this horror film and make them do freaky weird things.
Yeah.
Now I have two of them doing that just in my house. Like, if I get up to pee sometimes, they'll be in the hall and they'll be looking at me.
Just sitting, yeah.
But then they'll say something that you'll be like, you've never said that before, Daddy. And I'll like be sitting there and you walk out and they'll say something like, the time has arrived, Daddy. And you'd be like,
this.
What? And then you have to throw your own kids downstairs.
And then you have
You're
to,
the bad guy.
yeah, and exercise them. No, it is true. Girls, there's just so much more when they're little going on. I love boys. I mean, as a nanny, I always say I was a very good boy nanny, just because we're kind of on a level. There's this like honesty, and it's out there in the open, and whatever we're feeling, we're saying, and we're acting on. But the girls will say mad shit
and scare you, and they're weird. They're like, and they'll do weird things too. Like, my eldest loves nothing more than standing at the bed, not like to wake you up. So like, you'll wake up, she'll be like, what the fuck? And she'll be like, good morning, and you'll be like, hey, like just to tap me, or at least the wee one will come in and go, Daddy, I need my tablet, and like hit you and all, and you'll be like, oh, okay. The other one will just be like, hello.
So good.
It's too much.
That's so good. Do you know, one of the last nannying jobs I left was because the 5-year-old was, and I really mean this, a little cunt, like a full cunt. And I was like, and it takes game to see game. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh, bitch, I know exactly what you're doing. Like, she was manipulative. She was saying stuff to mummy that wasn't happening, and then like being like, ow, when no one was near her, just stuff like that. And you're like, oh, you full freak, you full psychopath. And it got to a point where, like, I remember I hated her. Like, I hated her. And I'd like put her in the bath, and I was like, one day I'm going to leave this job. You will never hear from me again because I hate you. And I hated her. Like, I hated, and she like didn't flicker. Do you know what I mean? I was like, this bitch, man. They are
She's
kind of
gonna be
amazing.
something. She's going to make something of herself.
I know she is. I know she's a monster. I've had this theory for a while, which is, you know how I was obviously like a sex register for sexual offenders, and we should all know about them.
Yeah, of course.
I think
you were saying you did it.
You
like
know the register that you started.
Yeah.
For all the comedy boys. The one I think we need is from the childminders and the nannies and the au pairs, the kids who we know are going to be school shooters, just tagging them early. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know I have nannied one school shooter. I know that. I know that with my whole self.
And it wasn't her, it was another one?
No, it was a different one. It was out in the States. And I remember being like, there should be a register somewhere where we can go, I'd just like to flag for your future knowledge. This is one. This is one right here.
But it is so evident. Like, you can tell, like,
yeah, 100%.
Even like, you know, other things, like, even if you say someone is, like, I've seen a child before and I've gone to myself, I think that's a gay kid.
Yeah.
And then he's turned out to be a gay guy, and you just can tell when they're young what they're gonna be
they're
like
fabulous.
personality-wise.
Yeah.
Like what?
Because they're the kids you like the most. Yeah, yeah.
And so what? They listen to Cher. I mean, no, you listen to Peppa. No, Cher and Lady Gaga, and like that's.
And they just can move.
Oh,
like the boys can move, and you're like, son, you are gonna be something beautiful in a few years. It's just fabulous. But the psychopaths, you know.
And what were some of the traits of a psychopathic child that you were like, this is a problem?
It's God complex. So his was God complex in that he was so intelligent, like off the scale intelligent. And you're like, first red flag, but also great. Some kids are just really intelligent. But it was the God complex of everyone else is wrong and everyone else is an idiot and I'm right. And there's a part of you that's like, I respect that because you're not wrong. Sorry, you're not wrong. But like, there's this extra then place that goes to where there's this rage. There's like a rage underneath it where it's there and he can't, that no one will do. He was so little. So obviously he's not in control of anything. He's not in control of anything or anyone. And the rage that comes with that. Whereas most little people, there's such a sense of safety when they know they're not in charge. You know, that's why people say discipline's so important, because actually when you're that little, you know, that's more quite nice to know. Even if you're having a temper tantrum, secretly what they want to know is mummy and daddy are in control and they've got this and I'm not the master of the universe. And then there are the ones who are the master of the universe and they are fucking raging that everyone else doesn't respect that. And he didn't make friends. No. He did not make friends at all. And he just sort of watched kids, you know, and you were just almost studied them and you were like, we're done. Like, we're fucked. Everyone's fucked. I felt like looking around at the kids and being like, hey, parents, honestly, like transfer. Get the hell out of this school. This is bad news.
Did you ever say to his parents, so this guy, you think there's ending up with him? Or
yeah, you know that dude that we play with? Like, what happened there? What's his deal? It is, I mean, they always say, don't they, empathy. And it is that. It is that, like, they don't, other people getting upset or you having to explain why you're upset. Being like, I'm so upset about your behavior because, and they're like, huh, what? Like, it's just amazing. But I mean, like, cool, God bless him. Or he finds like science camp or space camp or something, and that's his outlet. But I really think it's going to be violence. I feel really strongly it's going to be violence.
I know you suggesting maybe just straight away prison.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what you do with the register. I haven't thought that far ahead. I just know that we need to have one.
But what it could be is just a real good I told you so thing. You know, about
this.
Listen, this guy, boom.
You get to turn around and go, knew it. Maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just gloating rights. Yeah, fuck that year of kids. But I've got gloating rights. I do feel really strongly that there should be that.
Yeah, but then that's another thing. Like when you see stuff in like, if ever there's a few terrorist attacks or something goes on, they always go in the news. This guy was on a watch list. But again, what do you do with the watch list?
Like, right.
Like, how do you?
It's like, well, cool. Now we've got this watch list, so now we're just watching him do terrible things.
And then it's like, but there's probably guys who are on the watch list. They haven't done anything. And then they're like, you're going to
I know. We need to have. I know there needs to be gradations of the watching. I think, but I mean, who are we? But I think comics should be in charge of it. And hear me out. We're so good at reading people.
Okay.
We are good at calling it. Like, how many comics do you know who can sort of, when they're doing, like the good ones who are doing crowd work, they sort of have this innate ability to like call what people's careers are and like call what the situations of their relationships. Like, I do think the more we do this, the better we get at reading people. I also think we're around fucking idiots enough of the time that we know the difference between a fucking weirdo and a psychopath.
Yeah.
So we're all weirdos. Everyone's a bit weird.
See, I think there's some elements that like it's the ones that like all they care about is themselves.
Yeah,
they're the ones that are like,
narcissists.
that's a bit much.
It's a bit much.
Watching themselves, thinking about what they're going to do, filming themselves, editing themselves, putting themselves. Guys, come on, take a break.
Have a bev.
You know, just chill out.
I know.
You know, like sometimes I get the point like I'm sick of myself.
I know.
You know, I don't want to see even more of me.
I got like that because we've just finished our podcast that me and my friend Kay were doing, and I got to a point where I stopped watching the clips because I was like, oh God, fucking shut up, Hattie. Like, shut up. I hate it. I sort of hate being that. It's like the James Blunt syndrome, isn't it? You overexpose people to you. You're like, everyone should hate me.
Yeah.
Everyone should hate me.
But it is that thing. Like, and the other ones like it, and it's fine. But I'd like to just tell jokes, be funny and be silly and do fun things without having to look at me.
I know.
You know, it's like whenever I sometimes see me, I go, oh no, it's me.
Oh no!
You know? And then you go, oh, what if other people are thinking, oh, it's him again?
That's exactly where my head goes. Because everyone hates me as much as I hate me now.
Yeah,
I've done this.
Yeah, like...
I'm so much better in the complete pitch black silence of anonymity.
Yeah.
I'm great as an unknown.
Yeah, that is. But that's and then I think like generally it reflects in life too, doesn't it? Like whenever you're like I like downtime. I like to do the gigs to have a bit of time. I love it, and I just love. But I think COVID was the worst thing to happen to me because I'm totally content being at home.
I'm so glad you said that because I was exactly the same. I remember coming back out of COVID, and one of the boys was like, "Hey, have you been? How was your lockdown?" I was like, "Unbelievable." I was like, I just read books and stayed in and had had dinner. Do you know what I mean? Like we don't have dinner. People don't realize that we don't have dinner. I run from work to a show, or you're driving miles to a show, like you grab a sandwich on the way or whatever. You got like to sit and cook dinner. What a thing that is. That's magic. And I was the same. I'm still not that comic. I know a lot of comics whinge about traveling and stuff and all the like, you know, how much driving you got to do. I'm not beyond the ones where they put you up in a hotel and I get there and I read and I sit in my little dark room with all those pillows and like scatter cushions. Yeah. I'm absolutely obsessed with it.
But it's great. I got sent away for a job at the start of the year there and they were like, very quick turnover. And they were like, can you go out here, do this, film in here? You're going away to Prague. I was like, sounds sweet. And then got in first day, got costumes and all done. And then it was like, yeah, you're filming a Friday and this was a Wednesday.
Oh, bless
and I was like,
love when they do that.
What are we doing tomorrow? And they were like, you're off. So I was there in Prague by myself.
Are you that person who then, I do this, I refuse to give the other actors my number for the first little while so they can't ask me out to do things?
Well, I got guilty initially. So first feeling was I should probably stay and like try and do some sort of admin work.
Sure, yeah.
And then I went, you know what? If this is be normal, let's just go out and do a normal thing. Go out by yourself. Go out for a walk.
Yeah.
See, I googled all the tourist things and I thought there's a good walking tour.
That's great.
Just took it off myself. Went, grabbed the coffee, went and had a nice wee pasta dinner and a few pints by myself. And then went and watched the football in the evening. I was like, that was a great day off.
What a great day.
Great day.
And all by yourself. So I was flown out for some filming in Athens in September, and by complete happenstance, one of my best mates, she's also an actress, she was like, I'm absolutely gagging for a holiday, you know. She's like, I haven't been away for ages, and she'd been working so hard. And I was like, come to Athens. Like, just come to Athens. I'll have a couple of days of filming, but I'll get them to fly me out a bit earlier and home a bit later, and we'll make it. But she's one of those perfect friends who we both love our alone time. So she loved the days I was filming. And similarly, the days we were together, I could be like, oh, I'm going to do this. And she was like, great, I want to go in my room, get a bit of a nap and do some reading and check out this script. But it's the most, I've realised now I've got to the age where I can now only travel with people who want to do stuff alone. Yeah. At least a bit.
But you know what? That sort of thing I think needs normalised a bit more.
So do I.
Because sometimes when people feel the pressure to have to like entertain the other person and be like, you know, we have to do this or do that, and then they end up fighting. If you go like, listen, we'll do this. We'll go out and spend a wee morning together, and then we'll have a break.
Yeah.
Good afternoon if we want to get together for dinner.
Perfect.
It's ideal.
Those are the best
They're
people.
the best.
I have to ask you this because you've obviously been a parent for a while, and I'm about to. Speaking of being social and antisocial, I have taken, I feel like this pregnancy like an absolute champ. I've had a lovely time. Obviously, I have no partner to back this up. So, so this is all through my eyes. I love being pregnant. I love this whole thing. I can't wait. The one and only time I have absolutely lost the plot was when this insane woman at Pregnancy Yoga started a WhatsApp group with all the other mummies in Pregnancy Yoga. Dave, I had a fucking meltdown, an absolute fucking meltdown. I was like, what? I don't know them. Why am I now in a WhatsApp group with women I don't know, all of whom have cavapoos? We were supposed to she was like, introduce yourselves, how far along you are, where you live. I was like, where I live? Do you want my bank details? Where I live? What you think, how you feeling about this? And I was like, and I don't know if it's the Londoner in me, and I am getting better at getting rid of her because she's such a cunt. But I was like, it's none of their business. This is none of their business. Their shit is none of my business. We don't know each other. What is this elective like parenting platoon thing that happens where everyone's like, oh my gosh, you're all about to lose your vaginas forever. You should be in a club. Yeah,
there are too many WhatsApp groups for too many things.
Yes.
Far too many. And I think the bright side you'll be able to have is that you can just take yourself out.
And
just be like, listen, it's not for me. I avoided
Did you?
the school WhatsApp groups for a long time.
Very good.
Until P3, and Catherine just put me in, and it was like, and she really did me dirty. Like I was like, and I can't leave because now it looks like I am.
Yeah, but Dave, someone told me that recently WhatsApp has changed so it doesn't show up when you leave a group. I need to try this. Can we start a WhatsApp
group?
Just
make a group
just to see, just to test it out, because that will change my life forever if that's the case. I can just secretly get out of groups and no one knows.
We should be allowed to do it. Maybe you shouldn't, because it should be like the Irish goodbye from a WhatsApp.
No, it absolutely should.
It should be our thing. We should be allowed to just go, bye. It's our thing.
It is.
But then it just looks super. Now, what is funny is my brother-in-law. He is stubborn and funny.
Yeah.
But like, he got added to the family WhatsApp group, and straight away he just left. And I was like, straight out of the group. And like, Catherine was like, why he's so rude? And like, my mother-in-law was like, I can't believe. And I was like, that's classic.
He doesn't want to be here. Yeah, that's okay.
There's so many. And then like, I'm in other groups with like my mates and all too. And I actually said to one of them, I was like, you guys need to set up like a Six Nations rugby group, because I don't hear it all. And like, I was away somewhere for like an hour, and I came out and there was like 100 and so odd messages. I was just chatting about it. It's like, I don't want that. But then if I leave that group, that's my
I know.
So it's stressful. But in the school unit, there's one for the girls' rainbows that they go to, which is okay for like drop offs, and like they ended up cancelling rainbows for a few weeks in a row, and it was good to know when it was back. So stuff like that's practically okay. And like the street of a street WhatsApp, that's okay to know if
there's
stuff's
problems
going on.
Yeah.
But the group, like that's somebody just assuming, like deciding you are going to be friends, which you don't even have to. You go to the same class, but you shouldn't have to be like, we are now sisterhood.
I just have one of the things where like, and obviously my only sort of temperature check is other comedians, which is never a good thing. But I was like, I'm really sorry. I just came to do fucking yoga once a week because that's apparently what we're meant to do. I don't even like yoga. So I'm here to try and be some sort of Zen earth mother that I've never been before in my life. And now I've got all these like rando mates. And Freddie turned around to me. He was like, Hattie, you're the only person there who was there just for the yoga. I was like, then they should put that on the website. They should say, this is a friend-making class. I haven't. Then there was people like, I mean, what was so wonderful? So funny enough, the last time I was out here on this podcast, I actually was, turns out, pregnant. So I'd had.
Was it? Can I take some credit for that? The pregnancy.
I was just so relaxed that it all like. So I'd been like, I mean, I'm going to make myself sound like a heifer now, but I'd been inseminated like 3 days or 4 days before.
That doesn't sound like that. I was inseminated.
I don't know how was. It had been like clicked up there.
Yeah, that
few
works
days.
well.
Shall I just say flicked up there? The embryo had been put in a few days before I flew out here. It exactly just headed in the box. And so I was actually, I guess, in hindsight, pregnant when I was out here. But then cut that to like Diona working that out. Like me and Diona were in the green room, and she was like, "Hang on, whereabouts are you at in the?" because obviously she did IVF
Yeah.
so much. And she's like, hang on, where are you at in the thing? And I was like, oh, this bit. I was like, oh, I've done my egg collection, blah, blah, blah. She was like, hang on. So what are you now? And I was like, oh, it's in. She was like, oh my fucking God. And it was so like chill and funny and relaxed and just like, this is what I had. And I was like, this is when women are great. When you're both just laughing about how fucking ridiculous it all is, and your body and your life and your fanny and all this. Those are the women, those are the people, the parents I just want to be around. I get so stressed out when it's all this like, oh, let's just all hold hands and be a group of mothers. She literally said this to me. She literally said this in a class. This insane woman leading the yoga thing. She made us at one point like hold our palms slightly apart. So they were together a bit like in a prayer, but slightly apart, if you can see what I'm doing, with a gap between
like
our palms.
Johnny Wilkinson
conversion kick. Yeah. Absolutely that. And good, well done. See, you could be in that Six Nations group, Dave. You deserve your place there. And she was like, do you know what you're cupping between your hands? No. And I was like, yes, I do. It's 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen. The final 1% is argon, CO2, and water vapor. She goes, it's the light of love. And I was like, I swear to fucking Christ, I've heard, I don't know what the science on this is, I heard my unborn child be like, get us the fuck out of here. I was like, what do you mean? This stupid bitch. She was called Sally with an I. She'd spelled it SALLI. Sally.
Sally.
I was like, you can get you can't spell your own name and you are charging women for listen to you speak.
But what's she doing with her face when she says that to you? Because I think as comedians, we're always looking like it's almost like that real life hidden camera thing where you want to look to somebody and go, is she
I had my eyes shut. I am hoping there was a man with a gun at the back of her head making her say that. Like, I'm hoping that her life was in danger and she had to say that. I nearly walked out. I was like, this is unhinged. And it's not fair. And I think it's why women get incredible postpartum depression and trauma afterwards and devastating lack of expectation, like loss of expectation dreams after they've had a baby. Because some fucking lunatic has been stood there being like, this enchanted path you're about to walk down of motherhood and you're a blessed fairy queen. I want some like 45-year-old lesbian out the military juggling 3 kids back home who's like, listen, ladies, this is about to be fucking awful.
I'm totally with you on that.
That's what I want.
It's become such a thing that everyone's like, parenting is this wonderful. It's fucking hard. Yeah. It is hard. It's amazing. Yeah. But there are days where you're like, oh my God, why?
It's so hard. It is the hardest thing in the world, made only doable by the fact that you love these things more than you ever thought was humanly possible to do. That is the trade-off. It's a beautiful trade-off. But do not stand there in a room full of impressionable women talking to them like they're about to like birth an elf.
And then whenever the birth happens and I've heard, now again, I can't speak for them. I've heard it can be sore.
Oh, really?
I've heard it can be.
I haven't heard that. Keep that to yourself.
It can be a little bit painful. And like, surely you're going up, be like, where the fuck is where's the orbital flow? Yeah. Where the fuck is the orbital flow?
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. These women have been told, have your partner massage your back. And actually, this was the best bit. She turned around one point and went in her stupid voice, was like, you know, the perfect environment to give birth is the same as the perfect environment to make love. I was like, Sally, I'm not going to give birth in a car. You know what I mean? Like, fuck off, Sally. And she was still like, she had low lights, try and get maybe some candles, if you can have some music. I was like, these people are at work. These doctors and these nurses, you are in their office. Yeah. They are at work. Imagine turning up to my own office, obviously, but being like, hey, can I just turn off all the lights and light some candles and put some fairy lights? I'd be like, no, you're in my office.
But then, yeah, I think you need someone to be like us, our midwife.
Yeah.
For the first of our kids was just like, she was just like looking at me like I am a disabled person. Like she was like talking to me like, do you get this? Like, do you like what the fuck? Like whenever we went into the birth, like she was, don't faint because if you do, like we'll just have to leave you there. You're too heavy. I can't lift you. You're like a dead cow. And and then whenever I had the baby for the first time and I was trying to put clothes on her, she was like, you know, like that was just pulled out of her body. So if you want to maybe be a bit rougher, that'll be cool. Because I was like, playing Operation, trying to. And
this time you're like, no, they're pretty durable.
I
Yeah.
was like, oh, sorry. And then like whenever she done the Meconian poo, or called. It sounds like something very.
No, it's
Star Trek.
sci-fi, doesn't it?
Yeah. Poo.
It's pretty awful.
And like the midwife had opened up the nappy and was like, "Pa, the baby's done poo," and then I was like, "Oh well," and she was like, I mean, do you want to change the nappy?
You're up, guy. Yeah.
And I was like, I thought you were going to do it. And she's like, oh, yeah, don't mean to just like, come home with you too and do it. I was like, all right, fucking hell. Okay, sorry, I'll do it.
That's who I'd
want.
What
I like.
Exactly. Someone like grounded to the fucking earth. But
then for her, it's every day. This is probably 4 or 5 times a day. She's like, guy, deal with that. Once you leave here, that's on you. And I'm like, all right, okay. So that made me go. And I felt actually, I like go from like, it was like my mum talking to me, and I was like a wee teenager going, okay, I'll do it. And
it's
I was like,
great.
Okay. And I need that. And I think people like willy-nilly like ferry it all, and it's just wonderful. And like there are moments where you will want to, like I had a bit of like the culmination of just all my emotions.
Yeah.
Was Holly wasn't drinking properly.
Okay.
And was like had I can't remember what it's called.
The tongue tie?
Not tongue tie. What's the other thing called? Colic.
Oh yeah. So like reflux.
She needs some colic because she had reflux. But then my mum was like, I've seen these bottles that are like, I just thought party shooters. Like that's when she showed me, I'm like, that's how party shooters work. That's exactly what that is. That's like a straw. And I was like, I like it that she's not like, and she's needed it. So I went to Emma and I did these bottles up, and I shook it, and then the fucking water went everywhere, and it like burnt my hand. Like, fuck. And my mum was like, actually, you don't tie it that tight. You need to let a bit of air. And I was like, okay, dead on, no problem. And I went in, and Holly was crying. Mum was in trying to tell me how these work. And she's like, because she came to me like, this is going to be the answer to all my problems. And I thought this bottle was the answer to everything. Here we go. And then it did it again. But this formula, and shook it everywhere it went. And I just threw it against the wall. And I was so angry. I took both my fists, but I punched myself right there.
Oh, so hard. Yourself.
I kneecapped myself, and I fell and was on the ground amongst all the milk. And then my mom and Catherine was like, "What happened here?" And I was like, "Nothing really." She's like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "I think I've broken both my knees and both my hands." But it was just that moment of just, oh, this is too stressful. And then once you do it, you realize I am so fucking stupid. Like, what have I? And then you like, in that thing, like, what have I done? Like, what? And then you like laugh at yourself. I'm so embarrassed for me. But then I think you come back out of it and you're like, oh.
But I think that's what it does. It drives you to a place of like actual clinical insanity that you're going to come back from, because obviously you love this thing so much, but it is insane. Like it's such a primal just frustration at everything. I that's why I think that's so much funnier. Like, did I tell you on the last pod story if I did this? My mate, when she had her baby, obviously I don't know this because I'm doing it by myself. But so when you get part of an NCT group, which again sounds like a fresh circle of hell, I don't know if you do. I'm not doing that. It's when they like put you in a group with people who are going to have a baby at the same time as you at the same hospital. No.
Because then again, that's more pressure to try to like
have
these
mates.
people. And
If you are at childbearing age, still on the hunt for mates, something's gone hideously wrong. Stop it. Stop giving me friends. But they put the fellas in this other group in this room to be like, right, boys, you're away from the girls. Any questions, you can ask whatever you want. Any dad, whatever. This is time for just the dads to talk in it. And one of them, my mate's husband, came up with this, which is he put his hand up. He's like, look, I know this is going to be stupid, but I would never forgive myself if I didn't ask this question. If you're having a water birth and it comes out, but you just never take it out, is it a mermaid? And part of me is like, yeah, I mean, I guess.
But if it's still connected
right.
by the tube, can it still just?
I mean, it's been in water for 9 months, swimming around.
Yes.
It's actually umbilical cord where it's getting all its stuff from. So if it comes out into water that is perfect temperature, like its body temperature, it's designed to be the same temperature as the amniotic fluid, part of you is like, yeah, good.
If it's still connected by the umbilical cord, it could still get. It could still get
it all. So you're like, on the surface, you're like mental question, but then you're like, good point.
But then, if the mum, I have 2 kids, and I feel weird asking this. If the mum decided, I live in this water now,
right? What if she just lives in the pool with them?
Those like, do you remember that little? It was a little child that like got stuck. It's like quite an iconic image in like this water that was like poisoned, and then she like died over time because of like the exposure to this water. But like people are coming to her because they couldn't get her out. They're like, oh, they've given her stuff, and then she eventually died. It was really sad years ago. It'd be like that if this mum was just like, I just live in this.
I
pond
just
now.
live in this
I'll never come out. People
pool.
just go and give her food. Is that
Bring her
gonna
fish
be,
finger
like-
sandwiches. I don't know, but can you? You're what? She's a nurse. Can you ask her when you go home?
I feel I will, and I'll text you this. But I feel like she'll probably go, "What have you been doing?
You're not
Why-
allowed to do comedy
No,
anymore.
Stop! Like, what is going wrong with your mind?" But that is a valid point.
I honestly have thought about it so much since I heard this. Where I go, this feels like a ridiculous point to ponder, but I really want to know why he's wrong.
Should I go to the oracle of all knowledge, AI, and
You know?
ask? Like,
If
so-
you birth a baby in a birthing pool
okay, let's ask.
and you just never bring it up for air and the mum stays in, do you now live as amphibious men?
Okay, if you birth a baby in a birthing pool,
This is why comics shouldn't have
and
podcasts.
stay
in the
in
pool.
the pool whilst the baby's connected.
Day, there's only one real way to find this out. I've just got to do it.
Yeah, I think that's what
I've just got to do it.
I'll call me. We'll come to it. I'll get it. We'll get a
100.
film.
Yeah,
crew,
well,
we'll
yeah,
vlog
exactly.
it.
We'll do this. Yeah.
And then, but what's weird though is if your child is just a mermaid, then and you're kind of like, this is it.
I would literally have birthed Ariel.
And then I'll have to like just remember. Do you want me to bring you supplies?
Yeah,
You
just
live
fish
here,
finger sandwiches.
So
and
if you
smoked
birth a
salmon.
baby in a birth pool and stay in the pool whilst the baby is
Underwater,
attached,
it has to be submerged because once it takes air, then it's like its lungs open up.
okay, it's
So
underwater
it has to stay underwater, I think.
and attached to the
I really hope
umbilical cord.
your listeners are at this level, because if you've got any like incredibly intelligent neuroscientist types, I've just lost you so many listeners with
these
this
guys,
question.
these guys are not.
They
they
fun
don't come
like
here for
us.
intellect.
Fine, they're fun like us. That's
Yeah.
good. That's all
They're
I
fun
care.
guys. This is a fun time.
Okay, good.
And this is all about mermaids. So if you birth a baby in a birthing pool
Yeah.
and stay in the pool whilst the baby's underwater attached to umbilical cord, will it stay? Will it remain alive as an
Yeah.
amphibious being? Will it remain
Alive.
alive as an amphibious being?
But you just get bigger and bigger and bigger.
That'd be pretty cool. Imagine if you just,
Cheaper.
yeah. I mean,
Save a fucking heap on shoes.
oh no.
No, what did it say?
I mean, AI. I feel like it's getting a bit sassy. Like
oh,
this
well,
is,
don't then.
this
Don't
is-
keep that to yourself, you
no,
sassy little
I feel
Alexa.
like it's worth reading.
Okay, go on.
This
She's gone, no, you dickhead.
No. Unfortunately, you won't end up with a little amphibious baby that can live underwater like Aquaman.
Okay.
While the baby is attached to the umbilical cord in the womb, it gets its oxygen through the placenta, not by breathing. However,
you
once a
have
baby is
lost the
born,
placenta. Yes,
Even
you've
in
lost
water, a
that.
series of physiological changes kick in and prepare them for breathing air. That's
Right.
so shit, isn't
We
it?
should have thought of the placenta because you have to give birth to the placenta
And
afterwards.
here's some more. So whenever you're in that
More
moment, you
sass.
can tell
Okay.
the doctors this. You can be like, listen, I know this.
Okay.
The moment the baby's exposed to cooler temperatures, physical stimulation, or a change in pressure, their body triggers the first breath. If left underwater too long,
They're going to breathe
the
that
oxygen
in.
supply from the placenta will eventually drop and the baby will need to breathe or risk drowning. So
Right.
whilst water birth is a thing, permanently aquatic babies are sadly not. I
Oh.
might say, is this something we could look for?
I was going to say, it is only 2025 though. Like,
Yeah.
let's just hold out for a brighter future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where we just have this, babies in tanks.
I know water babies, like they didn't have that guy that lived inside the human lung for years.
Yeah. It's
You know
got
what
to
I
be
would have done
done.
if I was him? I'd be like, just take me out of the lung. It's a bit shit in here.
Yeah, it's a bit boring.
I can just a head now. Rest in
Yeah.
peace, the human lung guy.
But fun.
yeah.
But I mean, like I said, but cheaper.
yeah.
Cost of living's no small thing, Dave. Like, I
No.
think we've just got to start looking at other options.
I think seeds are important.
Seeds.
Take seeds out of apples, grow apples, save money that way.
Very good. Big old trees, though, apple trees, aren't they?
Yeah.
Got a bit of room for those
You know,
bad
I have
boys.
another hack as well. Like, see
Hit
if you're
me.
like going to a shop
Oh, yeah.
and like get your groceries or whatever, and you're scanning them. If you don't make them go beep and just put them in your bag, it doesn't cost you as much.
Does the weight of it not? Do they not go?
But see if you like, it's like anything, even non-weighted stuff. Like, say you have a packet of Rice Krispies, and if you put it across the barcode and it goes beep,
Yeah.
and goes in, you have to pay for it. But if you put it and you don't actually put the barcode across, but
Yeah.
you go yourself, beep, and put it in, that's free.
I know another male comedian who does this. That's genius.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
God, you guys just got life cracked is the thing.
Yeah.
You really do. I really know. That's really astonishing.
I think basically what we should do is they call it stealing back then.
No,
it's just
incorrect.
Indefinite borrowing, I call it.
Economic shopping. It's selective shopping. That's fine. Also, these places earn a fortune.
And I my biggest life hack that as a comedian I think was vital was in a lot of like, the coffee shops you get in like petrol stations and stuff.
Yeah.
You can put a large and a medium cup.
Get out of here. Okay.
So now I think listened to me talk about this.
Right. So they watch you in service stations.
Next time I did it, I overflowed with boiling water and burnt myself. But
did you throw it at the wall and stamp and fist your hands on your knees? Or
no, let's be careful. Let's not say I got so angry I fisted myself.
Fisted myself.
Whoa. I'd be a tough
Clip
one.
it! Hey, listen.
Have you ever been so angry with your kids
you just fisted yourself? Hey, listen, they make you irrational, but I don't know how irrational. I remember, like, I obviously have not been a parent, but I've only been a nanny for a long time. And there are those moments where, like, I can remember only really one where I was like, I have to leave the room. I have to leave the room because I am going to lose, like I'm going to, and it's always something completely irrational. But you're like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I have to leave the room now. I can only imagine when it's 24/7. This is going to be what they use, isn't they? When I'm like being done for sort of like GBH, they'll be like, we found this podcast clip of Hattie talking about losing it. But
do you know what though? What I find is the most annoying thing is whenever, like, say your parents. Now, by the way, my parents are great, and I love them and appreciate everything they do for me.
Thank you.
And I appreciate my in-laws as well for everything they do. But whenever grandparents have the kids and then drop them back, and you'd be like if they have them overnight, they'd be like, well, they're a bit much. And you're like, yeah, I know. Like, we have this every day.
Oh, really?
You're like, whoa, that's exhausting. We have it. Remember I used to be like 3 stone lighter and have hair? Remember that? Then
remember that time?
Gone. Yeah. So I'm aware.
Don't do that. Apparently all my hair falls out as well. My hair's all I have.
But you know what though?
Yeah.
If it fully went,
you
could get so many more gigs.
Being bald because I think I'm ill.
You could be like, listen.
Non-binary.
You know what you could do? You could shave it off and just say it.
I'm not going to do that, Dave. I wouldn't have a personality.
Illness. That's like, I might like, you remember there was that comedian Steve Ranazizi, was it, that said he was 9/11? And then he just wasn't, and they were like, you weren't 9/11. He was like, yeah, I thought it'd be a good bit. You know, sometimes like we will like you'll obviously you'll make a lot of bits up and things, but they actually go, I got out in 9/11. I'm sweet. Okay, I scared.
How would they prove that?
I think someone just went and found it, like, you didn't work anywhere. You didn't work
in any of these places.
And then he was like, he got me. But then I think he's come back and he's gigging again, and it's all fine. But again, comedy's such a weird thing.
Do you think, because I might not be pregnant, I could this could just be long gaming. This could be hard long gaming, like this single mum who's everyone's being so great at bending over backwards and they are. I have to say, like, mad props to the comedy scene. Everyone's being so brilliant with me.
Has anyone not been and being like, well, I'll wait until the birth and then I'll see if you're a liar?
No, but they should. If anyone knew me properly, they should. What I'm actually capable of. No, everyone's been so great. I'm so great that I'm worried in the way of, so Thomas Green, do you know Thomas?
Yes.
Wonderful comic.
Thomas, but I know of him. So Thomas is nice to meet you.
He's the fucking best. You should get him on here. He's coming over to Belfast in a few months.
You know what you should do? You should tell people I'm a good guy.
Everyone knows you're a good guy. I don't have to tell people that.
But people don't know me, don't.
Okay, well, I'll tell him. I will make sure he knows.
So, like, reach out to this bald guy.
Yeah, go with Dave. Have a lovely time. Well, so Thomas is parent, and Thomas is not only a fantastic comic, he's a very good mate of mine. And he is doing a UK tour in the end of the year, so from like September to December. And so he has invited, and it was a 2-person invitation. He's invited me and the baby to be his tour support for September to December. So he's taking us on the road. So we'll be on the road all over the UK and Ireland. We're doing a few here. And I was like, it means so much. I mean, it means so much from a professional standpoint, but also just from an emotional, what a lovely thing for your mate to do for you. But a part of me's like, oh my God, I hope he knows what he's getting himself. He's a dad. He's lived through the trenches. He knows the gig. But I was like, if I don't have one of those non-crying babies, like this poor guy is going to be on the biggest tour of his life. This like screaming fucking ginger and her baby in the green room.
Here's another life hack. You can pay to have like voice boxes removed if.
Oh, really? So shave the eyebrows, get the voice box removed. Dave, this is perfect. His podcast has really set me up.
Figure it out, yeah. But you know what? I would like to see that.
I mean, what a sitcom.
Get on to Dave. Get them to like send a crew with you. That is the reality show I want to see.
Me just with this baby. I mean, Thomas Green and like just this UK tour. I cannot tell you how amazing everyone's been with me. But I'm like, oh God, I hope I pay them back in use or some kind. But
having the baby on the road would be great. See if everything is doable, that'd be amazing. And then just to be able to have the kids come with you, because that's the worst thing is if you're away and you can't see even for like a few days. Sucks.
And also at the beginning, I mean, you know this, like at the beginning,
fit in bags.
Yeah, like they're so small. And at the beginning, before we've sleep trained and got any kind of a routine, like fuck it, it's all out, you know, it's all up in the air anyway. So it will be an extremely funny end to the year of all these. And again, all the boys, and I say boys just because there was an overwhelming number of male comedians in Liverpool and that. Because they're funnier. Because they're funnier. Because they're just funny. They keep getting themselves knocked up, the stupid sluts.
You know, I'm surprised more people don't tell you women.
I tell you, I've been telling women all the time. I was like, stop, we're not funny. Actually, I'm trying to write this bit at the moment. I hate when comics do this, but about how I genuinely believe men are funnier. Like I've got to the point in my life where I'm like, no, you're right, men are funnier. Have you ever heard men give other men advice? It's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my whole life.
It's never great though, is it?
It's not ever great. No, Dave, it's not ever great. It is, and this all started because, and I've said this on another pod, I think, me and Michael were in the car, Michael Rice, and we were, I forget where we were going, but McCann called us with some like, it was like ages ago, last summer, with some like girl issue. And I was giving the full, okay, well, what have you said? Have you communicated that well? Like, how do you feel about her? You know, all the kind of normal stuff. Michael Rice piles in with, McCann was like, I just don't know. I wanted to kind of know that I'm still out here and we're not, you know, exclusive and whatever. And Michael just piles in with, McCann, you know, you got to go in smelling of another woman. It's like, what are you doing? Put the phone down. He was like, no, you got to go in there fucking smelling like another girl. She's got to know that there is someone else. And I was like, oh my God, hang up. And I was just, obviously we were howling laughing, but I was like, if I hadn't been here, you would still have given him that advice. This wasn't like for lulz. That is a piece of advice that you thought McCann had to have.
But also McCann was quite impressionable and probably would.
And he would have. That's what I mean. Not to McCann, because he will be like, "Well, Michael said this," and you're like, "No, listen to Michael."
Because the weirdest bit of advice I ever got from him about girls, was like I can't remember the exact ins and outs of the details, but I remember saying like, "What would you do?" And he was like, "You just need to show her what you're all about."
I love this.
And I was like, I don't really know. And then that was it. So he didn't specify anymore. So I'm going away being like, what am I all about? So I'm like, what?
Existential crisis.
I'm going to show her what I'm all about. Like, it's a lot of pressure. Like,
in one moment.
Everything about me in one moment. And I think I just went in and went, and that was it over. And I was like, oh no, I've shown too much. Willie
said on the pod, he was like, I remember telling a girl once I loved her, and then I panicked and told her I fucking hated her, and she was a bitch in like the immediate aftermath. I was like, well, what's wrong with all of you? It is my favourite thing. There was that, show what you're all about is a good one. Yeah. And then what was the other one? One of my mates got told, he came back and he was like, well, so and so told me just you know, just make it look like you don't care. You just got to give her a week or so, making it look like you don't care. And me and Kay were like, I'm gonna step in here. How long has he been single? How long has your mate been single? It is just so funny to me. It's so funny to me how you all dabble in advice and what it is. It's just so funny when actually, as we all know now from watching Yellowstone, all women really want is like a potentially violent cowboy with sunglasses
and a dyed ginger beard.
Exactly, like it's quite clear. It's quite key. We know now that it's just that, I think. It's amazing when someone comes along like Rip from Yellowstone and just satiates every woman in the world. It's like, no, that's what I want.
Have you seen him when he's not Rip? It's weird.
Is it? Yeah, because he's
Irish.
He's Irish heritage, isn't he? Yeah.
Beard, yeah.
He was in Good Will Hunting, wasn't he? He's one of the.
I didn't even know.
One of the lads at the beginning with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Like very much that's his. Yeah. Jesus Christ, Dave. I like it's such a problem. Rip from Yellowstone for now. Because at least when I was falling in love with doctors in Grey's Anatomy, like there was a feasible possibility that I would one day fall in love with a surgeon, just because of the fact that like I live in a city. You know, the mates I have, some of them are in medicine. It was possible. I don't know what is going to have to happen to my life for me to suddenly wind up on a ranch with a wrangler who with a potentially violent past called Rip.
But I think nowadays there seems to be a real uptake in the sort of the country fashion. Like I'm seeing guys wearing, and like the cowboy could come to you, and his ranch just mightn't be a big open ranch. It might just be.
It might be 2.4 in Chester. Yeah, sure.
And like he could brand you, but it would be with a fire poker. Like it could be.
Yeah. Oh my god, you're so right. Yeah. What is? Yeah. It doesn't need. To, yeah. It could just be violence, but on a smaller scale. Yeah. That's
like that. Maybe that's. But like if he, basically domestic violence has happened sadly for a long time, maybe just like here. You just don't have it like you do in Yellowstone.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
A guy
it's rough
in a football shirt drinking Tennant Super.
Yeah, maybe it's just how I'm viewing it. Maybe I've met my Rip, but he actually just supports Millwall rather than has a rifle. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe that's the difference.
And that's it.
Jesus.
That's it. And by the way, we're not making light.
No, we're not making light of domestic violence, but not at all. But I think that's what I find so terrifying is how civilized we are and how far we've come in talking about this. And then a show like Yellowstone comes along, which is ostensibly cowboys like fucking women and shooting other people. And you're like, nope, sorry, actually, that's all I want. Found it. And we're fucking cave people, aren't we?
Happens, isn't it? Like,
just swings back.
So because I think I was chatting on last week's podcast about the same sort of thing, like in my era growing up, like what you think women want were like the Backstreet Boys, love songs, rom-coms, grand gestures, you know. If you don't go at me, I'll kill myself.
Yeah.
You know, like really, it's really fucking weak stuff. Yeah. Whereas really, and then you're like, well, you can't be all, you can't dominate, you can't go in and be, I'm a man, because no, excuse me, you need to be more akin to what the female needs are. And sometimes you have to just be a grouchy man like Rip.
Right.
And just be like that. And maybe that's it.
But except Rip loves her. That's the thing. Rip, he loves her and he's so soft with her. Like he's so protective and amazing.
She's a problem. She's a problem.
She's a great problem to have though, isn't she?
Yeah.
Whoa, what a woman.
She's a great problem. Yeah. And Kevin Costner's her dad.
He's
sexy.
He is sexy. That's a sexy man. Sexy. Kevin Costner, like it's hack now to find Kevin Costner. Ever since The Bodyguard, like again, a protector.
Yeah.
Why was he the sexiest man in the world? He was protecting a woman.
Then he loves Whitney so much.
He loves Whitney so much.
He cries and all when he talks about her.
I don't know what it is, but there is just this man with a penchant for violence.
Can I just say?
Go on.
I am not a therapist in any way.
Okay, wow.
But I feel that maybe because you are protecting the baby in you. Do
you think I'm going for protector?
I think you're looking for protector vibes are around.
Dave.
I think that's it.
This is... Okay.
Is that it?
Can I just say, this is quite amazing of you because I would say this is something that has been very much a thing of late. Probably of late. But my friends have always had this thing about how I keep going for like quite soft pathetic boys. Like they're always like every man they've been like, wait, what again? And their thing has been, because I don't feel like I ever really need protecting, I go for the boys that objectively do. So it's almost like I've reversed it. And then I got pregnant and Rip came into my life, and I'm not even entertaining these emotionally sensitive, articulate boys anymore.
You
could be I know what something that hurts. Yeah. I think you might be right. I've gone into like probably feeling, and I don't feel like this. I don't feel like this cerebrally vulnerable, but I suppose technically I am the most vulnerable I've ever been. So so now I'm looking for like a cowboy with a rifle strapped to his back.
You've also been in America.
Yeah, I
have. It's not, And the world has got so much smaller nowadays.
know.
Like you could just go out,
You
you could find yourself.
just
a
change
role.
the mileage on Hinge, can you?
Yeah, just go for it and see if there's the guy. Like, and I mean, I do think like if you were to have a cowboy here, it'd be really weird, and you get odd looks when you're at Frankie and Benny's or whatever. You'd be like, oh no, please, just don't wear the boots. Just don't wear the, please, not the boots.
Please, people will start tipping you.
Yeah, like, I don't want that. But, yeah, you head out there. You go out to back to America. And you find your rip.
Get myself out to Wyoming or something.
Yeah, oh, Wyoming's a beautiful part.
I know.
Of the world, and those big bisons, I love them.
That's what I want, a man, a bison of a man.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going to start manifesting. Not these like sensitive little
Gazelles.
thoughtful. Yeah,
Fools,
exactly.
little fools.
Oh, I've had a couple of gazelles in my time, like who move beautifully and are quite lithe, and I just don't. I'm out of that phase of my life.
I always think like out of a respectful thing. I think maybe it's the thing that's built into me as a bigger guy. If I could grab your arm and go, I don't think you're manly enough. You need to toughen up.
I had a guy. I worked up with next to a guy once. He, to be fair, like done the job. He was very nice, and he had a really elegant back. Like I woke up. I
mean, sometimes you just can't win.
No, I woke up and it turned over and his back was to me, because they always are, but like his back was to me, and I was like, God, he's got such an elegant back, like it's such like a French woman, like when it's beautiful, and I was like, you can't get Nick from an elegant French back, and I did.
Please tell me you didn't say that to him. This is not gonna work out.
No,
your back's too elegant.
I just started shagging someone else, but like it was. It's so bad that, like, I know we talk about the icks and how awful women are, but like that was such a moment.
Did you touch it and be like, well, it's
and then it was like, wow, because it was like beautiful and like
elegant
is the word, but I was like, it's so weird. We get creeped out by.
And then he's probably like really got a real concern about his back now. If you were to tell me a bit of a real phobia.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I dry retched in bed because you have a very elegant French woman's back.
If you said it to me, I would go, ha ha ha. And then you go, what?
Wait, what?
Dude. And then maybe he's never seen his back.
He probably hasn't.
And he looks in the mirror, he's like, oh, sacre bleu. It's darling.
It's so funny. I thank God. Do you think you guys I don't think men get icks like girls get icks. And this is really hat ground, but like, I don't think you do. Like, there'll be stuff that like drives you mad and annoys you. Like, she's so fucking annoying.
I mean,
but
not to pick anything specific, but maybe like if you're like take a lid off a yogurt and set it beside the bin rather than just in the bin.
Oh, I see. No, okay.
I don't know. That maybe.
Don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of. Yeah.
Yeah, not to get at me for maybe leaving my beard shavings in the a wee bit in the sink, and then yet I have to pull almost cousin it out of the shower every other day.
Right.
So.
That's just like small things. Yeah. Small things you're just pulling out from the air. I
like the spirit and orb of love, it's right there.
Light of love.
But I do have a thing like this that I find my kids hate it and my wife hates it now, but I don't know where I got it from.
Yeah.
But I did it during an argument, and I think it turned an argument from being hateful into funny.
Okay.
So I was really pissing Catherine off, and I was like, you know what you need to do? She went, what's that? And I was like, you need to reach out, grab all that negative energy, scrumple it up in a ball, throw it away. And she went, fuck off, and then laughed, and then broke it. And I was like, yeah, so anytime she's in a really bad mood, I'll pull at it. And then my kids, I'm like, guys, stop a second, grab it all, scrumple it up, and we move on. And they're like, oh, Dad, no, don't.
It does diffuse though, doesn't it? It does diffuse.
Like I remember one time we were having a real stinking argument, and it was in the car, and we were like, fucking, you're doing this and you're doing that. We're on the top of a hill, and then she stole the car.
Beautiful.
That was the
comedy saves everything.
And we both laughed.
Beautiful.
That diffused everything. You know, that one moment. And I was like,
so
you're
good.
such a fucking dick.
There are those moments, aren't there? Like I remember I had one. I've been really lucky in my life. I've never really had pregnancy scares. You know, I haven't been accidentally pregnant or anything. I know, yeah, not today. But I remember one time with my ex, we were out in America, and I got my pill wrong. Like I'd fucked it up, and I knew I'd left one tray at home and all of that old thing. But you know when you're like, I know I've messed up, but I think I've got it right in terms of the days and whatever, because I would never have risked that, you know, for both our sakes. But then I was late, and I remember being in the car with him, and I'd been sat on it for a few days, and I was like, fuck. I was like, "But we've got to talk about this because, like, yeah, I'm late and I know I messed up on my pills. I didn't realize, but I have messed up. So there's a possibility." And you kind of sit there in this like tense sort of like, I mean, we were in our 20s. Like, it wasn't the right thing. It also wasn't the right relationship. So thank Christ. But I was like, fuck. And you sat there quiet. And he goes, okay, right. And he meant this seriously, by the way. I found it funny. He meant this deadly seriously. He was like, okay, fine. Right. But if you get a baby, do I get a puppy? So sorry. Just gonna pull over a hard shoulder. Just one sec. So I just repeat. If I get a baby, do you get a puppy? I was like, I don't know if we should. You're like, yeah, I'm with a child. I'm with a child. I'm a paedophile. Like, my boyfriend's a child. I have a child. There's a child. I'm in a relationship with a child, and you just are like, these beautiful moments. Well, I mean, thank God I wasn't pregnant, but you're like, this can't be it. This isn't your person. This isn't it.
Did you even say to him like, but no? Also, you get a baby. Like,
you get a baby too, guy. Yeah. You and get a baby.
Like, what?
It's like Oprah. You get a baby, and you get a baby, and you get. It's like, something so beautiful about it. I think I can't decide what I think because I think it is so beautiful, and I do think men generally, and I don't want to generalize, you maintain your boyhood for so much longer than we retain our girlhood. Like, just how much longer you all watch cartoons and how much longer you all like play wrestling and like ball games on the beach and like video games, whatever the fuck it is. Like, girls get rid of their girlhood so much quicker. And so we spend our like late 20s and 30s being like, what the actual fuck am I doing? But there is something, but then you're like, in a world where it all gets so serious and bogged down and maybe you guys have got it right. Maybe just playing for longer is better. But maybe responsibility is nonsense.
But I do think that boys are always boys. I always think we're always boys. And the old saying that gets a lot of hate these days is boys will be boys. But I think we are always just boys with responsibilities that need to do other shit. You know, I still think
there's like, boys just trying to get out.
Like if there's a ball, if you're in a circle of boys and a ball just drops into the middle, like someone will go, you know, no matter what age you are, you'll do it. You'll play games, whatever you get a chance.
I've watched. My dad is 70, and he used to play. He played rugby, and they still go on tour. Like him and the old boys, they still go off on tour. To like,
it's no fun like
with, they sent us a video last time of them all off on tour. Where have they gone? Morocco. You know that famous rugby playing country, Morocco.
Yeah, I was going to say. Like I'm not in the Six Nation group, but I know Morocco.
No, they'd gone to Morocco on tour. I think the club had a game out that whatever. Obviously, they're not playing anymore, but they're still touring with the club. Yeah. And they sent us a video of them all on the bus, and I was like, it looks like the dementia patients have been taken out for the day. Like they're all so old, shit-faced, in their like matching tour shirts because they still got matching tour shirts when they go out. Of course. And me and like obviously most of the daughters and sons of those people, we've all been kind of brought up together because of obviously every weekend down at the rugby club. I remember messaging one of them being like, do you know what though? If they go on tour, like if they all die on tour, which I think one day they all will, at least they went so happy.
Yeah.
Like they went on their best thing, which is with their best mates on tour. Like,
so basically what would be ideal would be like a big bus crash or something.
I guess.
All together and they're all...
But and it was really quick, but they're all together having a lovely time. I mean,
apart from one that maybe they don't really like stage, but they're really burned.
But he has to come because he's good at the organising. Yeah. But they don't act like old people on tour. Mm-hmm. They are boys on tour.
Yeah.
They get so shit-faced that one of them like accidentally wheezes in the hotel lobby and like the other one gets lost and someone else has like started a bar fight that they did. Like they still tour like boys. They still tour like they did in their 20s. And you just are
sweet,
like...
though. That is just sweetness in that.
It really is. I know. And we all just sat there like, cool.
I just love a good time.
I know, you do.
And the good times will come, but... Speaking of, we've got a few questions. I'll give you, and then I'll bring you back. So you're gigging tonight. You're gigging in Belfast for a couple of nights.
Yeah, I'm gigging in Belfast the next 2 nights. Yeah,
this will be a few weeks ago now. But
sorry, but I will be back in. I'll be back in Belfast with Thomas Green. Mm-hmm. So if you ever want
the Bambino
and the baby, touch wood. So I forget when that is, but it's at Lav's Thomas's tour. So yeah, that'll be the next time I'm back.
There you go. And that'll be. So sort of end of the year.
September, October time. Yeah, I need to check the exact
Nice.
date, but it's there. Fall.
Oh, Matt says the story Hattie told the last time in the pod about her dad taking her to the pub and leaving her under the table. It was one of the best I've heard. Any other what a timing? Any other stories about growing up with a rugby dad?
He wasn't playing. He'd stopped playing international by the time I came along. So he was he was England, Barbars and Lions. Yeah.
Nice.
But so he wasn't playing international by the time I came along. He aged out. Or he'd broken out. Like he was too broken. It was ended. But he was still playing a lot. So he was playing Premiership, I guess it would have been at the time for the club. And like I just said, still going out and getting shit-faced. There was one when I was about 7, and I had a cabin bed. You know, this bed is like one bunk bed. So it's the top bunk bed, but there's a space underneath where you sort of have your little cubby. Anyway, Dad had come back really, really late one night after a game. I was 7 years old, and he walked into my room, and he just goes, Harriet. And I sort of woken up, on my cabin bed and been like, yeah, Dad, what do you want? He was like, get out. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, but Daddy, he was like, Harriet, I'm not going to ask you again. Would you get out? And I was like, oh, okay. So like, swinging myself out, climbed down my ladder, bit by bit, stood there. And Dad just climbed up my ladder, got into bed and fell asleep in my cabin bed, surrounded by all my teddies and my cuddlies. And I went into Mum's room and I was like, Mum, Daddy just came home and told me to get out of bed. And then he got in and he's fallen asleep. And she was like, okay, just get into bed. The other one Mum loves is he came home one night when my grandpa, so my mum's dad, was staying with us.
Is he a French guy?
He's not. He's just an eccentric man who decided he wanted to. Never been French. No part of our family. The elegant French bag.
His back was something to see.
No, he just decided he wanted to be a grandpa. And grandpa had been a rugby referee, bizarrely, so that had been his thing. But so Dad came home from the game. I think it had been an England game, so it was before me. And Grandpa just wanted to like debrief on the game with him, like was chatting through it. And he said he had a really reasonable conversation with Dad about the game and what happened and da-da-da. And then Dad just went, all right, Keith, I'm going to go to bed. Got up, went over to the bin, opened it, just pissed in it. Just pissed in the bin next to my Grandpa.
See you in the morning.
Night. Off to give your daughter the night of her life. Like, it was... And my mum was furious with the next day. She was like, why are you so angry? She's like, because my father has had to take out a bin full of your urine from the night before.
But if ever there's a man capable of it, it's a grandpa.
Well, exactly. It was a grandpa. One of my dad's favourite stories is he came back. They'd played for the House of... This is going to be really going to hate this story. They played for the House of Lords and Commons.
Oh, right.
There was like an invitational.
Yeah.
Which I know aren't your favourite people.
Listen, I love everybody.
Whatever. And they'd been flown out to South Africa for this special invitational. And I knew Dad had made it clear that it was a really big deal because he was meeting Nelson Mandela. Like that was a really big deal. He was going to get to meet Nelson Mandela and all the rest of it, and how important this person was and how amazing a man he was. And he'd really, very good. He really imparted on me how impressive this guy was. I was obviously quite little, so got a little bit confused. And he came back, and he and his mates all like came off the plane. And I ran up to him, and he like picked me up, gave me a big hug. So did you meet him? Did you meet Arnold Schwarzenegger?
He's like, fuck thing, no. He's not that cool.
Idiot child. Like all the rugby players were like, sorry, did your daughter think we've just been away meeting Arnold Schwarzenegger for the week? This incredible man.
I mean, I don't know who's done more for the world, really.
I tell you, when you
Arnold
look at it,
Nelson.
you look at it both sides. Yeah. But I feel like there are going to be more stories. But I do think, that's what we said in the last episode, when you're raised in that house, like just things that you just thought was so normal, you're like, oh, not.
But I love that whole club environment. I think it's
know.
fun. I also think like the wives of rugby players have to be commended because there's unbelievable patience.
There's an overlap with army wives, I think, where there's like obviously the stakes are slightly lower, but there is just like okay, just sort of why did they? I mean, when Dad got found naked on the top of a hotel roof once, and my mum's just like, okay, how? Like, there's just this eye roll that accompanies it all.
Yeah.
Where you're not shocked after a point. My mum had been with him for such a long time. They've been together since they were 19. So she's just like, that's my husband.
That's
absolutely.
That's Preston.
That sounds like my husband. Where do I pick him up?
Yeah, and then that's always funny whenever like other people are like, it's like that. You know, whenever people get offended for
Yeah.
other people that aren't them, like, no, we're sweet. We're not offended. And like, no, but you should. It's like, have you seen what he's done? It's like, oh, it's grand. Don't worry. But are you not annoyed? This is Saturday night. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it. I expected
Don't
it.
you worry.
Yeah. And one of my mum's favorite stories was about my dad. He came in late one night, blocked, and lay down in the hall to sleep. And I had heard the noise and came out with a pillow for him. And lifted his head, but like probably grabbed his hair. Put my little child blanket over him.
Yeah.
And then Mum said she was so cross with him. She came out, took the pillow, and booted him in the stomach, and just left him there. And it's just like, oh, there's me trying to be all, oh, my poor papa.
My poor papa took a sleep on the floor.
Yeah, she's like, that stupid bastard.
It isn't funny, like just so many things that you just take for granted. Like you probably weren't scared. You weren't like, oh my God, my dad's on the floor. You're like, oh, there's dad
There he
having
is
a kip on the floor again. And it's
But like, I remember his 40th, which is mental.
Yeah.
Like, I think, so let me figure this out. I must have been like maybe 14 or something in his 40th, maybe. That makes sense. Yeah, maybe in fact younger or no older. It's probably like 15 or something.
okay.
I remember it being like a wild experience, and how like this big party. I didn't get why it was a big deal, but like, I'm 40 in 2 years, and I like,
Mad, isn't
and
it?
to me he was so old. And I remember one of the funniest things was he was like, let's do a prank on his mate. So his mate was passed out, and he let me draw on his face, and I thought this was the funniest thing ever. And I just drawn, and I'd never drawn a willy in front of my dad before, and I was like, haha, and I had willies everywhere. And my dad was like, classic, this is great. And then sent him to the shop for fakes, and then he was like, that was the greatest. He said, the best thing ever, and you did that, son. And that was one of the moments I was like, this is, me and him are really bonded. Yeah, it's great.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so good. My dad dropped me off at a party when I was 6-year-old's birthday party in West London. So it's very like hoity-toity part of London, very like shishy and like, ooh, swishy. This dad like flounced over to us. I don't think I said this on the last one.
I think you did.
Did I about the Fosters?
But, yeah.
Have I written?
Your favourite drink?
Yeah, no, I did.
You've ruined
This
it.
one going mad. No, but this is why.
Hattie's too much.
No, it is too much.
You
Hattie
fucked
is a
it
bit
right
much.
wrong.
I fucked it. This is what happens. I'm going to blame baby brain on this because I can't remember things. So yeah.
Sorry, can I just take a moment here? See if anybody decides to say that you told the story before. This is a woman with baby brain. All right?
Yeah.
Baby brain is a real thing.
It is. Do you know what? And I
You
haven't called it once.
piece of
I've been so
shit.
sensitive about that. I've been so sensitive for people being like, oh, maybe. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm fucking sharp as a fucking razor. I'm not. I haven't lost anything. I've lost no edge. And now I'm doing this.
But listen, it was great. And you know what you have to do now? You have to go and do a set.
I have to do a set and make people actually laugh.
And I have to go and
With-
force myself to eat something because I've been on the drugs and I don't know whether
Because
I'm
you're a
hungry or
skinny
not.
little
It's weird.
bitch now.
Yeah, I'm such a skinny guy.
Skinny little bitch.
I just want to apologise to the gay community though before
Oh,
I end up
no.
not being a bear anymore. I'm sorry if I don't end up
Oh,
being a
they'll
bear.
be
That'd be so
devoed.
sad. I'll still be a bear at heart. You know?
Yeah.
I'll always be a fat guy at heart, whether I stay fat or don't.
No, I think a bear is like, you can identify as a bear.
Yeah. So, anything you want to, any plug in the socials or where? I can
No,
find you?
not
Your
at all.
podcast is over now. Too,
Pod's
that's-
over. We just couldn't. It was so expensive, and it was getting to the point where I was like, this baby's. I mean, I don't have it, and now you're taking money out of a pot that isn't really just yours anymore. But it's fine. Well, hopefully we'll be back one day, but not for the minute. But yeah, no, the next time in Belfast will be with Thomas. So yeah, look up Thomas Green's UK tour. He's such a brilliant comic. I really, even if you don't give a fuck about me, he is so completely brilliant. So go see him. And that's all I got for you.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Lovely to have you back. A pleasure.
So lovely to be back.
I look
always.
forward to seeing the baby when you come back. I will invite the baby in too. He can come on the podcast
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, we'll do it all.
Well, Lord knows we don't have a babysitter. So yeah. Thanks, Dal. I loved it.
I'm the sly guy.